What's up, guys? We're out here working on this thing. It's been quite a while since I've had you on the channel here. We're working on something. If you follow the shorts, I'm cleaning this thing out. There's a lot of tools kind of scattered everywhere. Been messing with a lot of different things on this car and doing a little bit of driving, not too much, but today we're going to work on something that's been kind of driving me nuts. Down here, what we have is our OEM steering wheel system. We've got a bunch of stuff pulled apart, and if you guys remember, down here on the bottom I had a little button mounted this little guy right here, little momentary switch, and I disconnected my no lift to shift and hooked up a rolling anti-lag button. That was cool, but because I did that, I lost my no lift to shift function, and a lot of you guys were out there asking me, how do I keep both? Well, I did some research, did some digging. It doesn't look like it's gonna be too hard to do, so I figured I'd bring you along today and show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna change things up. I was gonna add some sort of switch and run it off of like the wiper stock, a wiper spray right here, because you get your wires right here. We're gonna change it up. I deleted the cruise control on this thing, so now we have right over here a little cruise control lever that's free, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we're gonna use that. We're gonna be able to grab this from the back of the steering wheel. You can kind of push the button. That's going to be what we use to run rolling anti-lag, and then we're going to install a switch down here so that it will run off the clutch like it used to, so no lift to shift will also work. Mind you, I don't know if you can make two maps with the anti-lag system. You're probably going to have to just run one and then log in, change it, whatever. Soon that won't be a problem. I have another little thing I've been working on that I'll show you guys here in one of these upcoming videos. I pulled the dash apart. This is where we're at. Just took this lower kick panel off, disconnected the hood release, a couple of small things I pulled out of here. Nothing nuts. I have a pile of electrical crap here, some basic sockets, all 1/4 inch, soldering iron, some extra stuff. And these are some of the things that I pulled out, a little bit of hardware. What we're gonna do is we're gonna kick this off with part of a kit that I'm gonna put together for you guys. If you're interested in this and everything works out the way I hope it will, this is what we're gonna run. This is a simple 3-position switch. So we have 1, we have off, and then we have 2. What I'm gonna do is wire this bad boy up in place of this switch right here, this momentary switch, because that was kind of awkward to reach down here and hold while driving and shifting and all that. We're going to use this so we can switch between no lift to shift, and then when we want to have rolling anti-lag active, we switch it over to there, and then it will be controlled by the stock on the side for our cruise control, because there is no cruise control in this car at all. So with that being said, I think I'm going to start pulling some stuff apart. This little bad boy is going to fit perfectly in the hole that I already have in this little cheap panel, and the rest of the interior stuff is over there. It should work out great. We're going to do some testing real fast with the ECM link once we get the wiring put together. I'm going to use some alligator leads, test everything, and I'll show you exactly what you have to look for real fast. Once I get situated here, get all my stuff laid out, we're going to start diving into this. This is what our kit is basically going to consist of. Our 3-position switch. We're going to have 3 different colors, 3 different same length wires, and there's some connectors here you see on here. We've got like little spade connectors that just attach to the back of the switch, keep them all nice. I'll probably throw 3 pieces of heat shrink insulation in here so you can slide it up the wire and cover these up afterwards with like a Bic lighter or whatever you got floating around. We're also going to be throwing in a couple connectors here, some of these heat shrink butt connectors. Nothing crazy. It's not the biggest kit in the world. It's simple. It's 25 bucks, guys. Come on now. Anyways, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what we actually have to do, starting with the fun part. If you get on the back of your steering wheel, there's a couple of bolts. There's one, if you can see, there's one right in there, and then the same on the other side. My steering wheel's a little sideways, but they're essentially on this side here and this side here. You can get to them with a 1/4 inch wrench, and that's going to release your airbag. Mind you, disconnect the battery before you take any of this stuff apart with airbags. You don't want to get punched in the face with this thing. That would just be a really bad time. So once you get that done, carefully, you don't want to let this thing necessarily hang because you can hurt your clock spring. You're looking for this connector right here. This right here is your cruise control switch. Everything is done right inside of this. And there's only 2 wires that come out of this on this connector here. So what we're going to do is disconnect this carefully and not mess with anything else. There. That's the one you're looking for right there. This little guy. So that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to snip this yellow wire right here, and we're going to give ourselves enough length so we can tuck it back in here. We're going to try to feed a wire up through our steering column here. That's why, you know, if you look around, everything is exposed here. We want to make this nice and neat, but we're after this little connector right here. You guys can see it. We're going to end up using 1 connection on this, and I believe what we're going to be after is the yellow or the black wire. I think it's the yellow wire, so I'm going to start there. You can snip back some of this insulation, but this is the only harness for this whole switch right here. we're going to tie in right here from our switch, our rocker switch that we have, our 3-position, and that's going to allow us to kind of jump back and forth between the two, so to speak. But if you're not using it, there are some posts, little grooves, and you can kind of slide this back into position so it's safe. Just slide it back in and be cautious of all that. Now this is the real fun part. It's gonna be kind of difficult to show you, but if you have the no lift to shift wire installed in your car, I have mine extended with this yellow and this black. I'm gonna snip this off real fast. But this was my momentary switch, and basically it runs off the orange wire that's into the ECU. That's our no lift to shift wire right behind this panel here. We're not going to mess with any of that. I just extended it with these colors here. But if you have the ECM link kit, that's the wire that you're using, is the orange wire, and then there's a little purple splice that's up here behind this clutch pedal. The clutch switch is a nightmare to get to if you're 6'4", 245 pounds. It sucks. So I'm gonna have to crawl upside down on my head and hopefully be able to figure this out. We have to get to that switch back there, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna run that switch up to position 1. So you can see there's 3 different pins on this. We're going to use position 1 is going to be for the one from our clutch pedal. So that wire in the back that you snip, that you're supposed to tie into the orange wire right here that runs over to the ECU, we're going to extend that other end of it from ECM link to the top of this switch. I'm going to stand on my head and try to get this done. I'll be back here in a minute. I'm going to try to get this thing pulled out of here. It's pretty dark, and I wanted to show you what I got going on down here. It's a wiry mess, but over here we have our data log set up, and I'm going to try to show you this. We are looking for the clutch switch spike to come up. If I'm careful and I pull back my cruise control, you see that spike, 1 goes to 0. Now if I flip my rocker switch the other direction, it goes down to 0. And then I push my little clutch switch, you see we're getting the spike again. Now that this works as proof of concept, we have our rocker switch crudely wired down here. All the wires are just sitting in it. I disconnected my switch, which is that little guy right there with a little black piece sticking out of the tip. So when I push that, I end up getting a clutch result, and basically the ECU is only looking for a difference of 0 or 1. I'm not 100% sure if I've got this set up straight or not, but unfortunately for me, my battery keeps on freaking dying. Yeah, what's my battery at? Yeah, my battery's at 5.2 volts right now with a jump pack on it. ECM link's not too happy about that. It keeps disconnecting. I'm gonna have to charge this bad boy up. But so far, we've tied in up top here. I was wrong about which wire to grab. So I have the yellow wire attached to the yellow wire through some alligator clips. I'm gonna flip it one more time and see if that'll change from a 1 to a 0. And that'll be 0 to 1 and 0 to 1 on both on the rocker switch. But so far, we're making some headway. I'm getting chewed up by all sorts of bugs, lots of mosquitoes. Nonetheless, we have ourselves something going on here. I've got this the majority of the way figured out. Down here, we have our switch dangling. We've run our clutch cut wire over. We fed that into our switch. There's 3 wires. 1 wire goes, these are just jumpers, it's all over the place. This is the wire that was regularly connected across to the ECU, which is right here. And I just extended these individually. So now the ECU wire feeds into the switch. The signal from this, what we're looking for from our clutch switch to ground, is passed through this switch right here. And then I ran another jumper wire up and connected it to the black wire right there on our cruise control switch. I'm still gonna play around with it. I'll give you guys some more info here shortly. This is just like a proof of concept thing. I think it's gonna work fine. I may mess with it some more and try to clean it up. Right now what I'm getting on ECM Link, I'm getting a 1 or a 0, which shows you whether or not, you know, you're getting your reading from the switch itself. There we go. So you can see right here, I've got the clutch switch running right now, and you can see right here, it's at 0 right there. Sorry for the focus, but if we just run the log along here for a second, we go from 0 to 1 to 0 to 1 to 0. Then I switch it over to the stock and I get a 1 to 0 and a 1 to 0. The clutch cut option for no lift to shift, and have the rolling anti-lag off the stock for the cruise control. Once we get there, we'll be all set, but I'm gonna start pulling all this stuff apart. I'm gonna mess around with a couple more things. That's it for tonight. I'll keep you updated in part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. See you again soon.